You've given him what? Hey. Hey. 10 bedrooms. Hey. 10. And
the national government, because this would be a good way again to enhance our revenue collection, both for the national government and the county governments. On the issue of mining, the governors have raised concern of their coordinated approach towards exploiting minerals and interrogate before we have the meeting. In a nutshell, we have also agreed that the new policy of continuous engagement by vote functions that shall be complete within the next 3 weeks. Thereafter, I've been mandated to convene a special meeting of IBEC to get out, and therefore we shall not borrow money for recurring expenditure. We shall raise money from our own revenues, and I'm sure we have certain measures to collect more revenue to avoid borrowing, because it is not sustainable. The country is having a 10 trillion debt that is not sustainable, and we can. Why we have come up with taxation measures in the finance bill, because the RUTO administration has made a conscious decision, given a commitment with no guarantees, that we shall do whatever is possible to try to raise the money for June before the end of the financial year. That the National Treasury will disburse by the end of this week monies owed to the counties for the month of April. We have further agreed interrogating the authenticity and hence paying bills, and the meeting has defined the paying bills as valid invoices. We have had the 20th ordinary session of IBEC. Once more, welcome to the Hustlers Mansion at the invitation of the new tenant. We have had the 20th ordinary session of IBEC, and we have agreed on a few issues that I intend to share with you for public consumption. One, we have discussed the issues of pending bills, and the meeting has defined the pending bills as valid invoices properly delivered and outstanding at the end of the financial year. We have also agreed that the governors cannot pay every pending bill without interrogating the authenticity, and hence we have agreed that governors will have 2 weeks to interrogate all pending bills and ascertain the ones that are payable and the ones that are not payable. Thereafter, there will be 1 week to share notes and compare with what the controller of budget has, so that there can be a mutual agreement on what needs to be paid and what needs to be disregarded. Many governors have found huge bills that cannot be explained and that have no supporting documents, and they are not legally bound to honor such bills because they will be held accountable if they pay bills that are not supported and that were not procured in a regular manner. We have therefore, the meeting has mandated governors to constitute committees to interrogate all the bills and ascertain the ones that are payable. Number 2, on privatization of sugar companies, the Ministry of Agriculture has submitted 5 cases that were before courts and concluded and dismissed. 3 are still pending. Again, the Ministry of Agriculture has considered that through public participation, the people of Kenya and farmers in the sugar belt are not very keen on privatization, and the county governments and the people in those counties prefer a leasing model. And we have agreed that that will be worked out with opinions being given by the Attorney General on how those sugar factories and the nuclear farms can be leased for the benefit of those counties and the people who reside there. On the status of cash disbursement, the amount disbursed so far is 305 billion, and we still have an outstanding 94 billion that is owed to the county for the months of April, May, and June. And we have agreed that owing to the difficult situation the country is having in terms of availability of exchequers, we have explained to the governors the strain that the National Treasury is undergoing, and they have understood, and after lengthy negotiations, we have agreed that the National Treasury will disburse by the end of this week monies owed to the counties for the month of April. We have further agreed that by 19th of June, the money owed to the counties for the month of May will be disbursed. The National Treasury has given a commitment with no guarantees that we shall do whatever is possible to try to raise the money for June before the end of the financial year. But if that is not possible, the counties have been requested to bear with us. We have taken time with the National Treasury to explain to the county governors the state of the economy and the situation we find ourselves in as a country. I have taken time to take the governors through why we have come up with taxation measures in the finance bill, because the RUTO administration has made a conscious decision not to pay salaries and other recurrent expenditures from borrowed funds. We have agreed as a government that all recurrent expenditure will be met from our own revenue. That is why we have certain measures to collect more revenue to avoid borrowing, because it is not sustainable. The country is having a 10 trillion debt that is not sustainable, and we cannot borrow anymore, save for development. As we have said repeatedly, if you find yourself in a hole, you stop digging and figure out how to get out. And therefore, we shall not borrow money for recurrent expenditure. We shall raise money from our own revenues, and I'm sure the governors have exercised understanding. It is in that spirit that I've also asked them to consider and to appreciate that they are in the same boat with the national government in matters revenue collection, that if we don't collect enough revenue, there will be no money available to the county governments. So we have requested them, even as others criticize measures that have been taken in the finance bill, the governors should be cautious of joining the choir, because if we don't collect enough revenue, they are the ones who will be having a problem, because there will be no money for disbursement. On the Equalization Fund, Bill 2023, which is before Parliament for consideration, governors have raised issues that there are some counties that have similar climatic conditions as to those that are benefiting and they were left out. We have agreed that there will be a meeting to interrogate and review the criteria that was used to identify those counties that should be beneficiaries of the Equalization Fund, with a view of ensuring there is fairness and equity. The Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee is undertaking the process of transfer of devolved functions that shall be complete within the next 3 weeks. Thereafter, I have been mandated to convene a special meeting of IBEC to consider the report and make the requisite recommendations. We have also discussed the issue of liabilities that were inherited from the defunct local authorities, and we have agreed that the team that is working on it will submit their report to the county governments in advance so that they can interrogate before we have the meeting. In a nutshell, we have also agreed that the new policy of continuous engagement by the RUTO administration between the national and the county governments continue. Again, we have restated that the two governments are one, we serve the same people, and we have therefore encouraged cooperation at all fronts. And before I forget, we also agreed on the issue of mining. The governors have raised concern of their coordinated approach towards exploiting minerals in the entire country, and information has not been forthcoming to county governments. The minister in charge of mining has also raised concern about haphazard licensing of mineral prospectors against the law, and as a result, the meeting has agreed there is need to have a one-day stakeholders symposium that have been mandated to convene and chair to discuss on how to exploit minerals in a sustainable manner for the benefit of the counties, the people who live in those counties, and the national government, because this will be a good way again to enhance our revenue collection, both for the national government and the county governments. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana.